If you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a very special guest.
Dolapo Erinkitola.
Welcome. I'm so excited. To talk to you. I mean, I remember meeting you at your event, your film festival event, and that was really cool. It was like we didn't really have that much time to chat, but I really loved, everything that you're doing, being a boss, just taking action and putting, things in your own hands. And, this festival that you put together was just amazing. And all the people that came out and gave their, vital information about how they got started in just film world. It's just really cool to have that you did that. But I really love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning, charts our trajectory in life, our little habits that we pick up along the way, follow us into our adulthood. So tell me a little bit about what your childhood was like. And have you always been this kind of driven kind of person? Where did that come from?
Yeah, and thank you for that intro. I grew up Nigerian, so both parents are Nigerian, and we landed in Chicago. So I grew up in the Midwest, and I grew up with nine brothers and sisters. So
Wow.
there was a lot in the family. So even to this day, there's always a lot of healthy competition.
Yeah.
During the holidays, we have Scrabble tournaments and board game tournaments, and and back then there were, competition on who can get the best grades or sports or what have you. So it was even with the girls, so there were six boys and four girls, and everyone held their own. But early on, with so many kids, if you really wanted something, even though, our parents were well off, you definitely had to, create your own hustle. So early on, we did what we thought could make money. We sold like, those freeze pops, then that escalated to, for me, a paper route. And I had three paper routes and making really good money, at 10 years old. And then the paper routes, they got really, really, overwhelming. So I hired some people. So it got to a point where at 10, I had about three people working for me. I didn't have to do the paper routes anymore, but I definitely made a profit every month. So I think that was the beginning for me, and seeing how to kind of leverage good business,
Mm-hmm.
and the benefits would work for me.
That's amazing that you had a paper route at that age. And so as you got older, and I'm curious, did it like when did it start to change into, I guess, like entertainment or that kind of world, you know?
hmm Well, it did early.
Oh,
I was in Chicago. I was actually acting, and I was acting on stage. I won a couple of audition and got a couple of lead roles on
nice.
and but like I said, I had Nigerian parents, and they said, no, you're not going to be an actor. You're going to be either a doctor or a
A
lawyer.
doctor.
And so I let that go. And I pursued corporate America, ultimately becoming a research doctor.
Nice.
Um, but I did get back into the entertainment field years later, um, you know, through a relationship. So I was dating a young lady who's a pretty well-known actor in Atlanta, and just helping her and seeing how she moved. Um, and, that kind of opened the door for me to kind of get back into this lane. So I definitely give a lot of praise to her. very successful actress doing her thing, and I'm indebted to her.
I love that. I love
Hmm.
that. Now, so I'm curious because like, I actually recently found out that I got inducted into the oh my gosh, the African Focus Group. It's a place, they're based out in Los Angeles, I want to say, like and I got so I found out that I have like Nigerian roots on my mom's side, which I had no idea, but I
Hey,
was like, that's why I work so hard. It makes
there you
sense.
go. There you go.
There's
Hey, tell
something
me you can make
about
some
it.
jollof rice. You can make some jollof rice.
I can't, but I had some and it was, oh my God, it was like, it was just magical. And I think I think so many times we, especially in America and the entertainment business, people always telling you what you should do and what lane you should fit in. And when I was in that, when I remember accepting my award that year, and the King of Kenya was there, which was absolutely incredible.
Hmm.
And just that moment, I looked at in the room and I was looking at us and I was like, holy moly, like we're so powerful. Like
Yeah.
I just don't believe what society and stereotypes always tells us in this business. I'm sure you get it too. I've been in so many
Hmm.
rooms and people try to put you in these boxes of like, this is what you are. And it just kind of ignited this new, I don't know, I think thinking me that I already had, it was just kind of dead.
Hmm.
And I just kind of been, let's just keep going. Let's just go. We could do
Yeah.
anything.
We can, and it's a beautiful thing when you see that. And you know, Americans now are traveling more, and you see more going to Africa and going outside of the states. And when you do that, you'll see just how powerful um, we are.
Oh,
It gives
it's
you a better
beautiful.
glimpse.
It really does. And I'm curious for you, like, did you ever kind of did you have those stigmas getting into the entertainment world and really, making your stamp and finding your voice of like the direction you wanted to go in it, that people try to tell you what you should do? And like,
But
how did you continue on the path of where you are now? Because I mean, what you're doing is absolutely incredible.
wow, thank you. For me, I got lucky. I take the position of being a student,
Mm,
a lifelong student. I had really good teachers. Like I said, the young lady that I was in a relationship with previously, I learned a lot from her, learned a lot from the directors and producers that I've worked with in different films. Um, one of my producers gifted me, I told them the story of me acting. So they gifted me acting lessons.
mm.
And I took the acting lessons and right before I took the lessons, I went to the professor or instructor and I said, hey, listen, I'm here, but I really want to understand and get into the head of the actor itself. I have no interest in becoming a thespian again, but I really understand their challenges when we push them, when we ask them here, when they're going through a 12-hour day or when. So my lens changed. So I take all of those opportunities and I put it in my tool belt to say, okay, it will help me understand the business because I'm a novice in this business and I'm learning, but I have good mentors and when I have opportunity, I make sure I become the student.
Absolutely. Now, and I'm curious, hear about people say, well, Atlanta, Georgia, entertainment business is booming now. And I see it. I definitely see it. I see a lot of, people coming to, the area of Atlanta, or even like Cat Williams already, he's opening up a studio in Alabama. I mean, just wow, 50
It's
Cent,
coming.
Louisiana, it's there. I love this new where I think it's like this like collective wake up of like everyone's like, no, it's not just Hollywood. For so long you think it's just LA, LA, LA. And it's great and all. I've been in LA for 14 years and it's like, no, who's to tell like who's to say we can't make something like that, like a Hollywood? And I feel like Atlanta is that hub. It's becoming like the next or even bigger. Um, what do you think is Atlanta's secret sauce as far as like, because there's a lot of people that I know that say they work in Atlanta, they're not from Atlanta, but they're working in Atlanta, but it's just kind of hard to get in that soil.
Hmm. I want to say Atlanta's secret sauce is the hustle.
Yeah.
Atlanta has more Black-owned businesses than any other city in America,
Mm,
and you see everyone being an entrepreneur, and it's no different in the film industry. And when you have the hustle, you may not have all the answers. So again, you have a lot of filmmakers in Atlanta that don't have the proper film training. I didn't go to
mhm.
school necessarily, but they're saying, "Hey, I want to get into this industry," and they get baptized by the fire. So they're just in
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
start off getting, bad movies, right? Coming out
Yeah.
of Atlanta, people that don't know how to hold the camera to correct it. But guess what? Atlanta now is evolving, and now you're starting to see those who have learned through the process. Some people who are moving from, some of those places you just mentioned, LA,
Mhm.
Chicago, New Orleans, all of those other places are coming
Yeah.
to Atlanta now, and they're sharing, information. And so I think Atlanta's secret sauce is the hustle. The people
Mhm.
here who want to be their own bosses, who are saying to themselves, I can do this. And I love it when people say, I could do this, even if they can't. I
Yeah.
love it because you can.
You
You
can.
really can. And when someone is telling you you can't, run from those people because they can't, and they want
Yeah.
you to see them. So
Yeah.
Atlanta is a lot of we cans, and I love that about Atlanta.
I love that. And I love everything that you're doing. How you've set up and put things into place to help a lot of up and coming filmmakers and filmmakers in general, and just people that like you've become like this amazing powerhouse. So tell me a little bit about like your production company that
Mhm.
helps filmmakers create and their projects and get them out. Like when did that start and why did you start it?
Well, it started basically on a seed that I told you about in a previous relationship, and
Yeah.
that blossomed into other projects. Once you do one, then your phone will start ringing. Hey, can you help
Yeah.
me with this, or can you help me with that? And next thing you know, you've got more projects than you can deal with. Um, the the production is more so um, truly trying to get a voice of good projects being
Mhm.
produced with the right tribe. And
Yeah.
if you notice in Hollywood, um, if there is a good film, you'll see the same people working with the same people. Your Harrison
Yes.
Ford works with the same people. Your Martin
Yes.
Scorsese works with the same. Your Spike Lee's work with the same people. There's no shame in it.
Hmm.
Once you get the right tribe, you'll see that it's okay to work with those same people because you've developed trust with them. You know
Mm.
what kind of business people they are, or what kind of, work ethic they have. And for me, it's creating that tribe of individuals that I can trust and continue to work with. So I'm in the process. Some come in the circle and then they fall out because they either can't keep up or they don't do business the right way. Others will stay in the circle, and we continue to add until we get that ultimate team where we can start
Hmm.
pumping out projects that make sense and that are good.
Hmm.
The biggest thing for me is doing business the right way because everyone has a story. And guess what? Everyone thinks their story is good. So their story is good.
Yeah.
But now, how do you now make the business part of that work? And then
Right.
how do you make sure that you're dealing with the right kind of people? The people
Right.
who have the project first, as opposed to lining their pockets first. And
Right.
that's really important in this business because, and I'll say this, and I've said it on a couple of interviews. The entertainment industry is very dangerous because it's not like corporate America where it's structured. If I have a
Hmm.
problem with Billy, I go to HR.
Right.
Billy might lose his job, and that's
Right.
how he feeds his family. He's going to course correct, and get in line, and everybody moves on.
Mhm.
In the film industry and the music industry, everybody's their own entity. So if I hire Bill to come on my set and do a job, he doesn't do it well, I just say he's gone. And guess what? He goes to the next project and the next project.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the wake of what he's done. And there's
Sure.
no true protection. Yeah, we have unions, but there's no true protection on an exchange like that. That's
Exactly.
why it's so important to have that tribe. And it's so important to understand that you can actually have someone that can talk a good game come into your project and wreck your project, and you're
Oh, I've
sitting
had those.
with nothing. And that's the reality of it. That's 60% of what's going on out there. I mean, truth be
Wow.
told, that's why I always emphasize working with the right people.
Absolutely. And I love what you said, business. I think I talked to a lot of I mean, amazing people like yourself in this business doing it at such a high level and continuing to put this stuff out. But I feel like that's important for a lot of people that listen to the show is that the business aspect, yes, it's entertainment, but it's also very much business and knowing how to how to make money, how to get distro, how to
Mhm.
get these deals. How do you approach it? Like as far as like when it comes to you have a project, how do you know if something's going to, work? Or do you know always if it's going to?
You know, I've managed people in the music industry for a long time, and
Mhm.
so the music industry is a cousin to the film industry. So there's a lot of similarities. Um, in my approach to reading a script, it's just like my approach to listening to music. If I listen to a song and I can feel and connect with the song, and to me, it sounds good. I don't care if it's country, rock and roll, rap. I really
Yeah.
don't. If it sounds good to me, that's a good song.
Yeah.
If it reads good to me, when it comes to a script that I can follow, then it's a good script. Now it's the work to bring it to life with the right director, or the right, DP, the right editor. Um, that's where the creative people come in and they're like, okay. But the business side of it is so very important because what I had to understand and learn the hard way is that the creators truly don't care about the business side of it. They just want to
Mm,
create. Painters will paint. Singers will
right.
sing. They'll sing in the shower because that's what they love to do. They're not thinking about, okay, how does this make money or will this be successful? They
Right.
just want a good experience and a good product to give.
Hmm.
So you need a good person to balance that energy. You don't want to stifle that energy, especially if you have a good creator. You want to let them create. But, someone has to handle the business side of it because even if you create something fantastic, if the business side doesn't go well, maybe the masses won't hear it. Maybe you'll lose your contract because it's not selling, even though you
Yeah.
did good work.
Yeah.
So you really need someone that understands the business side of it, and that's what I try to do. I try to incorporate good business. Sometimes it's hard because there's a lot of chiefs in the kitchen, but if it's
Yeah.
101, or if I get someone who understands what good business is, it's always a beautiful ending.
I love that. I love that. And I love that, you have so many things you've done, so many films, projects. You've done things for American Black Film Festival, yeah, films on BET. There's like a lot of people see these things and it's good, but like I think what people are missing is how does one, you have 20 years of experience, you're like super experienced in this business. Um, you've worked on several critically acclaimed projects like Sound of
Mhm.
Christmas. What did you think sets these projects apart, right? Like and roles do, bringing such unique stories to life. Like, why do you think it gets to those levels of like, critically acclaimed? Is it because there's a lot of people that have good films that
Mhm.
you probably never heard of?
Yeah, and that's the business side of it, right?
Yeah.
You can have a good film, but you have to do the diligence of entering it into different film festivals. You have to
Mm,
do work of, spending that extra money to um, hire a publicist or someone to kind of push the project. So you are on, platforms like this discussing your project. You're on the radio, you're on television, and you're putting it out at the right time.
hmm.
If you're a Christmas movie, you want to put it out at a certain time. It's not in December. It's
Right.
Christmas movies come out, believe it or not, October, November, really at the
Hmm.
beginning, so that people are teed up for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Right.
So it's someone who understands those things and can help you navigate, especially if it's your first time. And
Hmm.
I've been lucky enough to work with some incredible people. You mentioned Sounds of Christmas. That was done in it was written by Booker, but it was uh, done in partnership with Megamind.
Nice.
Megamind out of DC with Tressa in them, and those they don't play. They're really really good. So Don
Okay.
and Tressa, they are making their own waves in this industry. So I was lucky enough to work with them on that project.
I love that. And also too, I love that I think I was reading too that you used to be former president of the 100 Black Men in America.
Mhm.
Tell me about that. What what drew you in to being involved in that?
Yeah, that's a beautiful organization. The 100 Black Men of America is an international organization focused on mentoring young men.
Mm,
Um, and we identify, financial awareness for them, health awareness. We focus on education and mentorship. Those are really our four pillars. And I joined it, um, I think I was finishing my, right after I finished my master's, I got to tell you this story. It's a quick story.
yeah.
Um, I was working as an intern in this medical um, office, and a guy came in, suited up, and he had this pin on it. And I love fashion. He just came in. I had to give him his props. I
You
was
have
working
great
for.
fashion, by the way.
Thank you. And he came in. I said, "Hey, man, hey, whatever you do, I just want to let you know, man, you got good fashion." I said, "Oh, by the way, what's that pin?" And he said, "The pin is with the 100 Black Men. We do X, Y, and Z. We help young kids." And I said, "Man, I want to be a part of that organization." He says, "Very exclusive, very hard to get into, but maybe one day." So after he said that, that to me was a challenge.
Right.
And I ended up joining the organization, becoming the president, eventually sitting on the board, the national board. And I'm still a member of that organization to this day.
Nice.
Very, very
Nice.
good organization.
Yeah, and it's I love that because it's just like you said it's not everybody has the background that you have, right? Not every young man or young woman has those tools, right? I think who's the artist? I think it was Jay-Z. He said we don't have the tools. It's because we don't have the tools. A lot of
Mhm,
people don't know how to actually do it. Doesn't mean that they're not talented or can't do
mhm,
it. It's just when you don't have the tools and resources. So it's really good to have that you guys are teaching these young Black men the tools to get when they're out there in the field. I
mhm,
think it's so important because it's so I think business is hand in hand with entertainment. I was talking to
mhm.
somebody about that. I'm like, yeah, we love creating. And I've created over 100 something projects, whether it's because I went to school for cinematography, got into
Okay.
directing, did my own thing, because when being a woman, you have to like do extra, extra, extra to prove that you can do it, which I'm okay with that. But it was like finally, I mean, you have to learn that part too, the business side, like distribution was a huge key factor. Like, how do some people get their films made and get them seen? Not just
Hmm.
made, and then like who's gonna see them? You're gonna have like a little small premiere. You want to have it where it's out there.
Exactly.
So
It,
yeah.
no, I was saying it's crazy. I mean, you bring up a really good point. You get people who put a lot of time and money on a project and no one sees it, it's basically an expensive home video, right? Because
Right.
no one sees it sitting on the shelf. So there's a lot of work. The shooting the film is the fun stuff.
Yeah.
The work comes when it's done. Now, what do you do? Who do you call? Where are your connections? And it's so important to go to these mixer events because that's where you make your connections, and you don't know
Yes.
when you're going to need somebody. The disservice, and this is where Atlanta still is, you know, trying to grow.
Hmm.
In LA, you can go to, there are certain coffee shops that you can go to, everyone in there is going to be a writer, everyone is in the film, so that they
Yeah.
spot this spot. New York, the same thing. In Atlanta, we're trying to develop that, and that's one of the
Mm.
reasons why I put together DSR,
Yeah.
because if you go into a room and you meet the right person, let's say you get the a card from, I'm making this up, a card from BET.
Hmm.
You got a contact at BET. You haven't done a film yet, but now you're thinking about doing a film, or now you're working on a project and they're almost done. And they're like, well, I met this person at BET. Let me give them a call to see. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And you have to, I mean, at my DSR, we've had several people get their project sold. Some
Love that.
people got jobs, actors and actresses got roles as a result of just being in the room,
Mm.
um, because we had casting directors there. So you have to go to these events and you have to stand up and you have to speak. That's what it's there for, not to look pretty or handsome and just, you got to get up and talk. And when you do, you'll be surprised because the people in the room are in there for the same reason as you,
Hmm.
to meet people and help their project or help their platform. And a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
That's facts. Absolutely. That's it's very true. So I love asking this question, and there's no wrong answer. But the three
Okay.
levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could choose
Mhm.
only one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
Mm, yeah, yeah. Um, it would have to be power.
Mm.
As with power, I can get pretty much anything I want that money can get me. And respect is fleeting. You do something, you can lose the respect, but power is something that can garner pretty much the other two if used correctly. So even if they don't personally respect, they're going to respect the position that you're in with the power.
Mm.
So I would lean towards power, and the rest will come.
I love that. That's a great answer. I love that.
I'm going to flip it
Um,
on you now. How would you answer that?
I would say money, for me, because I think, we live in a world that money makes the world go around, and I know, and I don't think everything, people say, well, money, it's greed. No, it actually depends on the person. It depends on what you're going to do with it. I feel like I see a lot of people with money and they're not helping anything. They're not moving any needle. It's all for themselves gratification.
Hmm.
And I feel like for me, with the resource and knowledge that I've gained over the years, because there's a lot of women that very talented that are doing what I'm doing, and they just don't know how to get the ball rolling and continue to roll. And I mean, if I could somehow offer that help, to others, and also create better projects, because that's what it takes to get to top your last film. It takes money. I've been in a lot of, I worked for, when I went to this room, I was doing something for Fox, and I got hired to direct this series that was coming out. And
Hmm.
so we're in the room where I'm talking about, I was like, this is the money I think we're going to need to make this happen. And they're like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, I mean, it's going to take this kind of, I mean, I can't, and it's just think, I just think if I've had more money, it'll just be easier to get things done. Because I feel like a lot of people have money that don't want to give you the actual gain.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like I run into that a lot. And yeah, so money would be my thing. I don't need respect. I could care less about what anyone thinks about
It's
me,
fleeting.
honestly.
Come and go.
Yeah, it's like, as we see today, a lot of people that we see, you know, like Tupac said, they build you up and then tear you down. So it's like whether, and that's why I like Kanye. Kanye doesn't care to be a villain in someone's story. And I think that's what it is.
Man, I sounds like you're a hip hop head. You quote Jay-Z, Kanye, Tupac.
A little
I'm
bit,
loving
a
it.
little
I'm loving
bit.
it. Okay. Yeah, I'm a big Kanye fan, especially growing up in Chicago. Same
Yeah,
about Kanye. What I love about Kanye is that he's not afraid to fail. He's gonna say it. Now, sometimes there are consequences, and
sure.
that is what it is. Not having the fear is what I love.
Yes. And I feel like if we have more of that, we can move mountains. We can move mountains. But I feel like a lot of times we want to be accepted
Mhm.
by certain people in this business. And it's just, we can't actually get anything done if we want their approval. We just have to just do it. So that's
Agreed.
how I feel. I feel this in my soul.
What
um,
now? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, small little town, very Tim Tebow college town, and
Mhm.
I was the only one that was like, I want to make films, and so I left. And my first professional gig was working for Roy Jones Jr. for about 2 years, and then from there, I left, and you know, he was like, you got to got to make those movies, got to do it, and that's what I've been
You
doing
work
ever
with the
since.
GOAT, one of
The
the GOATs.
goat.
One of the GOATs. The GOAT is right there. That's the GOAT. But
Hey, yes,
Roy Jones is one of the GOATs for real. Though. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. What advice would you give to up and coming artists, whether it's music or entertainment world they choose? What advice would you give to them?
Um, Basically two things. One, don't change your passion and your vision. Don't change it for anybody. And the second thing is you need a team. You need a team. There's no, in this day and age, there's no way around it. You need a team. And a team is going to consist of somebody that's going to help you with your money. Can't be your uncle. Somebody that's going to help you with your money. You got to take
Mhm.
that seriously. The
Yeah,
second thing is someone that's going to help you with your brand. You got to pay for it. These are things that you got to pay for. And lastly, you're going to need an attorney. You need someone who can read those contracts on your behalf. Um, that's the basic team members that you need. And if you get those people that you really, really trust, then you're free to create and just run with it. But you need those. There's no way around it. You need those.
that's facts. Facts. I've been there. I've been green behind the ears in one of my biggest projects for a film I directed. Got everywhere, and we didn't see a penny of those things because we didn't read that contract right. And I was really young, and I was like, wow. So the more you know, it's true. The more you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
And
no,
Atlanta's waking up. I love Atlanta. I came out here. I went to Morehouse and
nice.
Kennesaw State, and I've developed a lot of friends, and Atlanta is doing what it needs to do. It's
Absolutely.
growing, and there's just a lot to come. A lot to come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I had such a pleasure just listening to how you did it, and thank you for just sharing your journey with us. I appreciate your time.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and shameless plug, Dolapo Screening Room. We do it every 6 weeks. Um,
Absolutely.
and the screening room is really a space where young creatives can come and show what they're working on, get some feedback, totally free, and we fill the room with people who are decision makers in the industry to help you, and it doesn't cost you a penny. And we do that, like I said, every 6 weeks. The next one is well, I want this to be forever green. So I'll say every 6 weeks, come on out, and you can follow me at official Dolapo E for more information on the next DSR.
All right. Thank you again. I appreciate it. And
All right.
thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.